Hey, it's Tieesha back with another great video. I am excited because I actually found some energy today to go live on this video and about this topic. And shortly, I will be joined by Sharon. You've seen her on Save to Sane channel, and I think she's been here before. I just want to say that, like growing up, I always wanted an aunt. I always wanted aunts and uncles. My mom is the only child. My father, his siblings, divorced us when my parents divorced. But one thing that is great is that, like, the universe, your life journey, your path, it it brings what you need when you need it. And so I am so fortunate to have Sharon. She's been like I call her my Navy mom, but she's been like my aunt since my active duty days. Like, she was there with me when my son, when he was little, he was like a year old when I met her. And she's been taking care of me from a distance like all this time. And I really needed her today. She was my voice of reason to talk to her and just get some things off my chest. And one thing that I talked to her about was the testing. It's no secret. You guys are here on my channel. I thank you for subscribing and joining me. And I am in my third trimester. And this has been such an enjoyable journey. There's been some things, one of them we'll talk about tonight, but I've actually enjoyed. I've had so much fun. It's so peaceful. I'm so thankful to my sweetheart for providing, everything I need to, be peaceful and really enjoy every day and every week. So that's a little bit, but she'll join us in a second. She's on a different time zone. So I just want to say greetings to everyone who's here. I see we have Keep It Real, Nursing Relationships, Brother Daryl Eiffel. How are you doing from Pine Tops, North Carolina? And of course, Christine Williams. Thank you so much. And we just got a thanks from Supermash. And be one, my sissy homie, can me and my wife be godparents. You sure can. Thank you so much. And so I wanted to share this journey week by week, but I must admit, my life is not that interesting. I've been sleeping, eating food, being a bum, and just kind of enjoying the moment, like living in the moment. So it would have been a little boring to see that happen, but I just put up different updates as I can on social media. So I hope you join me on my other social media platforms. The name is Tieesha Essex all across there, except for like Snapchat and stuff like that. But yes, little lady, you have some more godparents. I'll show you. And I'm wearing a shirt from our sister, some chick named Star. It doesn't fit because the belly bump, but I wanted to wear that today to support her. I love her so much. So when she sees this, she'll definitely smile. Um, so yeah, we are in our third trimester, and so I knew coming off that there was certain things in this pregnancy that I did not want to do that I did in my first pregnancy. And that is a big difference because my first pregnancy, I was 19, and this one, 37. So, it's like, okay, at that time we didn't have, cell phones in our hands like that. We had phones where you can download ringtones, stuff like that, but it wasn't the phones that we have now. We also had access to, like, what we have now, Amazon. You can order what you need versus, going to the doctor. And in my case, if I have a question about something like what's happening during this week of pregnancy, I go right to, a search or a blog and see what's going on and track it that way versus leaving messages with my doctor like, oh, I feel this right here, or running back and forth to the urgent care. I'm chilling. And this go round, oh my gosh, I am so empowered because I'm not active duty for one. And that's the big difference because with my son, I was active duty. We were active duty at that time, and I had him on a military base. And so when I went there, I was like an E2, then an E3, and everyone outranked me. So I thought that everything that I was told to do was a direct order. And so you have to follow your direct orders. And one of those direct orders I had was, okay, you will take the gestational diabetes test at 19. And that's one thing that I'm comparing this pregnancy to my first one. I was 19 then. This time I'm 37. So now at age 37, I'm hearing this term called what is it? Advanced maternal age. I'm hearing that. And they said that it used to be called geriatric maternal age. And I'm like, well, damn, I feel like one of the Golden Girls, but that's not it. And and how that plays into, how things are going now is that they'll say, "Oh, we're doing this because of your age." And I'm like, "No, you're not, because they did that when I was 19." And most recently, I have a family member who's actually a decade behind me. She is 26. She had the same pressures put onto her. So it's not an age thing at all. It's not. So, and Sharon just joined, and I'll bring you on in just a second. I'm gonna give a little bit of background. I'll bring you right on for your wisdom and tell everybody why I brought you here. So the first time I took the gestational diabetes test, I was 19, like I said. And at that time, I had no clue about nutrition, things like that. I kind of ate what was available. I think I would have been on shore duty at the time. So I just ate what I knew to eat. I started to cook at home. I remember calling my grandmother up and stirring a pot with one hand and had her in my ear. But at that time, my eating habits were not that good. Like, I could drink a 2 liter of Pepsi in a day. I could do stuff like that back then. But as you grow, you know better, you do better. And I do not do that at all. So I remember I reported to get the gestational diabetes test. I was given a little bottle of this orange drink, and they kept saying it tastes like, and this was the East Coast, so they say soda. I'm from the Midwest, so we say pop. But they said it tastes like orange soda. So I went, you got to take it to the head in 5 minutes. I didn't think to read the bottle, ask questions, no, nothing. This was a direct order, do it. And then I was told to come back in an hour and report to the lab to have my blood drawn. So in the meantime, I was at Langley Air Force Base. I went into the commissary, got some groceries, then came back to the hospital, got my blood drawn, and then I started driving home. And I remember the sun just being so bright. It felt like the sun was like baking my car. It was like reflecting extra off of every car I saw. And then by the time I got home, I was just like, I do not feel good. The world is spinning. I was hot. I was just going through something. I'm like, let me try to sleep this off. And I woke up later on that night. I'm just hungry and coming off of whatever the heck I was on. And I'm looking around my apartment like, where are my groceries? And I couldn't find my groceries. I'm like, oh, I left them in the car. So I go outside to look and to go get my groceries out the car. My car is gone. I'm like, where the heck is my car? Like, it wasn't in my parking space. So I was like panicking, like, oh my gosh, somebody stole my car. Like, what happened? Like, I did not remember. It was like I was in a time warp. Like, what happened? From the time I had my car to the time I woke up, I had no clue what happened in the world. So I ended up calling the police to report my car as being stolen. And about a half an hour or so later, I got a phone call from dispatch or whatever, and they said, hey, can you go outside and meet the officer, look for his lights? And I see him down the street. So I walk towards the light, and as I get closer, I see my car. I'm like, how did you find my car? He's like, your car is right here. Do you have the keys? I'm like, yes, I have my keys right here. My groceries are in the back seat. So my mind was just gone. And I'm like, damn, this test really messed me up. I never want to do this again. And so when I knew the time would come when with this pregnancy that I would have to or be offered this test, I know I don't have to do anything. And how I know that is that I'll show you a website, and I put that in the description, where it tells you that here for the state of Georgia. And let me do a disclaimer: I'm not telling anybody what to do. I'm not giving you medical advice. I'm not credentialed to do that. I'm just saying what I'm doing for myself. That you have the right to decline medical tests. You have the right to do that. And when I started going to the clinic that we have now, I read over all of the intake forms, and there were certain things in there. If I could find it, I'll like share that on social media, or if you want, I'll send it to you on inbox. But on one of the sheet, you're supposed to initial everything going straight down. And I'm like, let me read what's going on. And there was one that was like, sign your initials. I consent to random drug testing, and I consent to this. And I did not, I wrote right across. I do not consent. I do not consent. I'm not going through that. And so when it came to, I think our 18 week or our 22-week appointment, they mentioned something, okay, at your next visit, we'll order your gestational diabetes test. And I said, I decline it. I'm not going to take it. And it was a comment on a YouTube video I watched today. And it says, no is a complete sentence. And that's one thing I noticed with the midwives. When I say no, it's almost as if I get automatically put on the witness stand. I got to give reasoning behind it. I'm like, it's an informed decision. I've done my research. No, I decline. And the first time the midwife was like, well, she kept saying it tastes like Kool-Aid. It tastes like Kool-Aid. And I'm like, she says it tastes like Kool-Aid because I'm Black. I'm like, I don't drink Kool-Aid. She kept saying Kool-Aid. And I looked her square in the face. I'm like, I don't drink Kool-Aid. The last time I had a Kool-Aid packet, I was a preteen. Like, who drinks that? Then after that, it was like, okay, I get it's like drinking a soda. I'm like, I don't drink pop. And that's one thing they count on you is not doing your research. I don't want to introduce that much sugar into it's not even sugar. It's half fructose corn syrup. I don't drink that on the norm. I do not. They're like, well, it's like drinking a soda. No, it's not because I have one here. You're drinking 50 grams of sugar equivalent, 50 grams. And I'm going to switch my screen and I'm going to bring on Sharon in a second. I want to show you really quick what 50 grams looks like. Okay. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone being here. I really appreciate you. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. There we go. And forgive me, I can't walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. Okay, I think it's this one. Here we go. Here's one. And I'm going to go back to make sure you see what I see. Here we go. Let me give it the whole screen. So this is as big as I can get this picture. But it's think before you drink. And I'm sorry, this picture cannot get any better. But as you see right here in a Red Bull has 27.5 grams. And they have a Coca-Cola here with 35 grams. And the rest of these, I believe these are like foreign drinks. But for instance, your first go-to is a Red Bull, which is a little over half of that, little bit half than 50 grams. And I think that's the only picture I have so far that I had pulled up. But I'm like, I don't drink that, but they want you to drink the sugar equivalent of 2 Red Bulls, and I've seen average on 5 to 10 minutes. Who drinks that on the norm? Now, when I'm feeling nauseous at times, I drink one of these or I sip on it. It takes me a while to even drink it. This right here is a Reed's All Natural Real Ginger Ale. And this here is 12 fluid ounces, and it only has 33 grams of sugar. And with this is actually sugar. It's cane sugar, not half fructose corn syrup. And it takes me a few sips, just to put something in my stomach, and that's it. But I'm not chugging this in less than 5 minutes and exposing myself and my baby to that. That's not what I do. And I'm going to bring in Sharon. I'm going to unmute your mic and bring you in because I'm so happy that you are here to join me to talk about this. Like I said, I've always wanted aunts, and I'm just so happy that you came into my life to be that aunt and to be that voice of reason, because when you're in this state, you should not have to feel like you have to go toe to toe and explain your no. Like I said, no is a complete sentence. And you need that person to kind of bounce information off of and support you in your decisions, because this is this is me pregnant. And so I'm the first line of defense for baby tiger. It's like, look, okay, I'm not introducing, I don't do that on the regular. I'm not saying, look, let me get a hit of crystal meth to see how my body reacts to the meth. I'm not going to do that. So Sharon, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
So much. And I wanted you here because you are pursuing a field that is so needed, so necessary. Can you tell everybody about that?
It's nutrition and dietetic technician, but it also has certificates where you can be a wellness coach, community nutritionist. So yeah, it's all wrapped up into one.
And that is perfect because you are the perfect example for me, taking control of what I put into my body. And we're talking about gestational diabetes and some of the arguments that, I think they asked me my why so that they could prepare for the next person that uses the same thing that I say. But the first thing that came off, well, it doesn't matter how skinny you are. I'm not saying that I'm skinny, but okay. It doesn't matter what you eat. And that's one thing I get. It's like, it doesn't matter. I have someone whose BMI is 22 and they still have it. Granted, that's them. But me, okay, this is my second pregnancy. Also, too, I'm making an informed decision because I know what is in this product and I don't want to consume it. And I'll share another screen. And I want to ask you, you're also a mommy as well of two. So have were you pressured to take it, or did you take this test when you were pregnant?
Well, I'm seeing as I'm a little bit before my generation is a little bit before.
Uh-huh.
Um, a lot of this stuff is stemming from we went from having to have our babies on our own because we
Mm-hmm.
couldn't get doctors to the generation that was still doing home births because my mom did home births
Mm-hmm.
and there was no concern about our health. But then when we were no longer guinea pigs, now is these new rules came into place. You need to have this and you need to have that so that, and we didn't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
We just kind of went along with what was told to us because we have been conditioned to conform
Mm-hmm.
because the rules do not apply. So you do it because you don't want somebody to take your child from you because at one point they was threatening to take your baby from you. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of stuff was pressured on you. And I think this newer generation, yes, some of you guys are starting to do your research, going and being your own advocates more so, but we could only teach you what we knew.
Right.
So yeah, I'm gonna be honest, it's been so long, it's been over almost 40 years. I probably did. If it was
Okay.
a test, I probably did take it because I took whatever they told me I had to have, that's what I did at my
Right.
appointment.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm starting to see that due to the lack of education in the community, um, there the information is so sparse that you're kind of forced to only know what somebody else tell you
Mm-hmm.
unless you research it yourself. Now that's why I like your forum because not only do you do your own research, you share your resources. So, people know that I can go on the computer now. If I don't have a computer, I can go look for this book at the library or,
Mm-hmm.
so I like that approach. But yeah, these tests have always, and they always come up with a new test.
Right. And and
So
and that's the thing that I did not want to happen is because as I'm doing my research and stuff, it's it's false positives that come up. So with this test, I have the drink up on your screen. I actually follow the Food Babe on Instagram, but of course, you don't take your memes as your source of info. You go and research, okay?
right.
And I notice is that there's a lot of false positives where people say, hey, I fasted all this time, and which is insane to me because I cannot fast. Okay. I have to feed my baby. Okay. I have to feed myself to keep my energy going. So that's ludicrous to me. But If you fail that one, then, or they say you do not pass the screening, because it's not a test, it's a screening, it's not a diagnosis. So you go to the next one and they up the sugar, I mean the corn syrup even more, and do it even more, or you got to come back and repeat the test. I don't see the logic in continuing to expose my unborn and myself to that much sugar, and also all the other things that I do not consume normally, you know, such as artificial colors. And that's why I do not eat M&Ms or Skittles or candy or anything that is artificially colored, because of the issues and of the food allergens and stuff like that. Um, the
And
other
so,
one, exactly. Here, but the first thing that jumped at me was the 50 grams of sugar. And
oof,
the midwives, they gave me so much misleading information in their arguments. Well, if you eat 2 cookies, that's 50 grams. No, it's not. I have a box of cookies in the other room, and to get 50 grams, I have to eat about 12 of them, you know?
mhm,
And I had a I had a serving of ice cream last night, because I was like, you know what? Let me see what's how much is in my ice cream. When I took it out the freezer, I'm like, okay, this looks good. I'm gonna eat it. A serving of ice cream is, for the one that I have, is only 17 grams.
right.
And it took me about 10 to 15 minutes to eat it, not downing it in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That makes zero sense.
And
But I'll go right ahead.
no, I was going to say, and what a big part of it too is learning how to read those labels,
Yes.
learn how to break down what a serving size is and equate it into the different milligrams and different ingredients. Because I just found out, I'm gonna be honest, I just found out from my husband that soy was not a good thing.
Absolutely. I actually I saw her here, the Pick Me podcast. Make sure you follow the Pick Me podcast here on YouTube and also on Twitter to join the Twitter space. We just talked about soy and the effects that it has on the body, especially for us, for women. Okay. For us, it elevates our estrogen levels. And then we also, are prone to, it can flare up, thyroid issues, fibroid, stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I haven't done a complete all my research and studies. I don't have, funded grants for studies look into these things, but with thyroid issues. So here's the thing, like with all this is saying, okay, you need to take a glucose test, and these are the ingredients. All they care about is you taking it, and what happens after that. But there's no question on, like, the whole time, nothing like, do you have thyroid issues, or maybe do you have any food allergies? Let's present it so you have any food allergies, because there's certain things that I researched when it came to food sensitivities. A lot of people are starting to show, like, gluten intolerance, um artificial colors and stuff like that, sensitivity to preservatives, which this thing is full of preservatives. For instance, for one, and I'll share that now, one of the preservatives is BHA. And I'm really leaning on that, because being pregnant, they advise you to stay away from BHT. BHT is an ingredient, and it's a preservative. You most likely find it in deli meats and different stuff like that. And so it has here where I'm at naturopedia.com, and it's saying that BHA is also used as an antioxidant in foods and pharmaceuticals, and it is it preserves fats, oils, and freely soluble in alcohol, chloroform, ether, petroleum ether, propylene glycol. When you heat it, it would disintegrate. It gives off acrid and irritating fumes. And here was one. Okay, list of known side effects. BHA is a mild skin irritant and a moderate skin sensitizer. BHA has been deemed to be a human carcinogen, according to the National Institute of Health. It is also associated with estrogen induced breast carcinogenesis. BHA is dangerous if swallowed and it comes in contact with your eyes. It is also very harmful to aquatic life. That says enough right there. Why are you trying to make me take this, ingest this? And this is in the orange colored one, because it's not flavored, in the orange colored one, and also in the clear one that was also presented to me as an option because I do not want to ingest artificial colors, is also found in the clear Glucola. So why would I introduce that into my system and it could possibly pass through my placenta and potentially harm my unborn baby? I'm not going to do it. Do you have any thoughts on BHA? And
well, I am really against any chemicals because I feel like the research is not done, because that's why they keep trying to pump it into us so that they can have test dummies. And these drugs are not good for you. And what's funny about that is people tend to not think about the after effects. You taking all of this stuff that they're telling you to take. You got to take this and you got to take that. That's why I like that you said use an informed decision, do your research, because you know your body more than they do, because they're not even listening to you. They test you for what they want to test you for, and they don't when they don't. So you may be ingesting something that may be reactive to you. So you really need to sit down and do your homework when you get these tests, because now you do have that option. When they want to give you a test, you know what, can I think about this until the next appointment? It does not hurt. I really want to think about this to the next appointment. You don't have to say, I don't know.
Right.
Let me think about it. And there is nothing urgent where you cannot wait until your next appointment. Or if I feel like I want to take it before then, I'll call and make an appointment.
And that's one thing too. I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because each time I decline, I said I've made an informed decision that I will not. And so one thing that is happening at my last appointment at 28 weeks was that I gave a urine sample. I was perfectly fine with that. Anything that's really non-invasive, anything like that. So I gave a urine sample. I even took a picture, of my urine sample, and I also took a picture of the bottle that had the test strips in it. So I'm like, I'm going to verify this myself, and I'm going to document it and have it for myself. And in my urine cup, the Dixie cup, they put the strip in there and laid it on top. I went in there, I took a look at it. It was negative for glucose and it was negative for protein. And so when the midwife came in, I said, oh, can you tell me my results over there? I made sure that Georgia is a one-party consent state when it comes to recording. I made sure I had it recorded. Oh, yeah, you are negative for protein and glucose. Oh, thank you so much. Now, if that had shown, something, then I will say, well, that warrants further testing. And I was also presented with the other option was a continuous glucose meter. Well, if you order it, I'll go pick it up from the pharmacy. You order it, but nobody ordered it. No one gave me a handout or nothing, or with anything with further information. They told me about a finger prick test. I'm not a diabetic, so I don't know about finger prick tests. What do you want me to do? You didn't give me any instructions. But then also too, we're kind of on 30 weeks. And besides my private nutritionist that, I have appointments with, no one even talked with me about my eating habits, nutrition, or nothing. So I could be over here eating everything, as they say, oh, you're pregnant, indulge. That's not true. Do everything in moderation and make sure that it is nutrient rich, because you're building a life. So I'm like, y'all didn't care about what I've been eating for 30 weeks, but all of a sudden you want to like, oh, let's take a test. No, this is not properly educating me as a patient, or even, showing any concern and care. It's just, okay, take this, come back in 2 weeks for your next appointment. I'm not taking it. But then also too, let's say I did. What are the options? Oh, we're going to give you an eating plan or tell you about foods you should eat, now that you have this screening positive, diagnosis. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm already doing that. I'm watching what I eat. I have, great eating habits. I think those who follow me on Instagram can verify that. And exercise, exactly. And that's why I invited you here. And I'm so glad you're here because, you talk about and you're studying this, but it's not that you just started this because you're studying it, but this was your lifestyle and the importance of having a healthy lifestyle. And that's one thing that I did that took me into pregnancy. I've had these habits established early on that's, continuing now.
Well, now that's I'm glad you said that because this is going to be my segue into it took me to go into it when you was talking about all these tests. No, they're not going to talk about nutrition with you. And I found that a lot of stuff, if you don't know to ask, they're not going to volunteer it. Now, they would have come to you when your feet were swollen or your blood pressure was high, something where they had to incorporate a pill.
Hang on one second. Donna just
Then they,
asked a great question. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to do it as a full screen on you, but I'm going to walk away.
okay,
Donna just asked a great question. So keep on talking. I'll be right back. Okay.
okay. And so the key to it for me, what worked for me was I wanted to improve my own health. And I just kind of figured it out as I went. I didn't give myself this, I have to eat alfalfa sprouts and an apple. What is my diet like day to day? Now, what am I willing to give up? What am I not willing to give up? Okay, well, when we started discussing the things that I knew that I wouldn't eat, then I said, okay, well, now how can I modify preparing those things? Because I did not want the myth that has been going around. I don't know about for anybody else, but for me, I was always told, oh, it's expensive to eat healthy. Well, I can't go to, I can now, but, I don't want to go and spend money at the farmer's market and I know it's not going to be gone right away. Or maybe I can't get to a farmer's market. Maybe I can't afford Sprouts or Trader Joe's. Well, how can I still eat healthy? Eating healthy is just modifying how you prepare your meals. And I have also started learning the art of bed raised and hydroponic gardening. So I noticed that when I started growing my gardening in the hydroponics, the lettuce and the celery and all of the peppers, everything even felt lighter when you got
Right.
ready to eat them. It's all in the preparation. The animals also don't eat like they used to. They used to tell us, oh, pork's bad for you. How many of us had big mamas that lasted till they was 90, 100 years old, and all they had was pigs?
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with hogs, and all my relatives lived to be 90 and 100. So
Right.
it's all in what you're willing to do. Salt is never good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm eating pork, then maybe I don't want to put a lot of seasoning on my other part of my meal, or
It's the
maybe
table salt that's
right.
not that table salt that's not good. So
Yes, I use the Himalayan sea salt
mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
And it's just all in the preparation. Don't fall for it's expensive to eat healthy, and don't give
Uh,
up on it because you think you can't afford to eat healthy. We were eating healthy before somebody told us we was eating healthy. You
right.
know what I'm saying? So all of this stuff is to keep us in a box. So we just need to come back out the box. What did grandma do? And that's the thing. Some people blame the older generation for the things that are coming down now, but you got to look back and pick out the things that they gave us.
Mhm.
Grandma cooked every day. Well, guess what? Sharon's not cooking every day.
You
But
know
guess what
what?
Sharon will do?
Cooking every
Sharon
day. I
Instapot.
purchased I purchased a cookbook down at the Black History Museum down in Thomasville, Georgia. And the cookbook was written by, I believe at the time that she wrote it, she was probably in her 80s or 90s. But she said, I'm writing this cookbook because I'm noticing everybody around me is getting fat. They're not cooking, they're eating from restaurants, eating all this processed food. And that's where it came from, you know?
Right. And like I said, I just found it's all about modifying and doing what will work for you. And
Mhm.
I lost my own weight. I brought my levels down on my own because
Mhm.
all they wanted to do was you tell them you got a new symptom. They wouldn't even really
Try for
check
something
you. They
else.
just pop you a new pill. And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to look like look like I'm 90 years old with a table full of pills and I gotta
Mhm.
hire somebody to sort them out for me. So yeah, so I still cook my foods. I will cook stuff on the stove, in the oven, but I also went and bought me an Instapot. I got me an
Mhm.
air fryer. If I want my fried chicken, maybe it won't have the absolute crisp of the Popeyes, but
Mhm.
it's crispy.
But we
So
we also
yeah,
switch our cooking oil because a lot of the stuff
yes.
you go to the restaurant and get some French fries is cooked in cheap ass soybean oil. You come
Yep.
home and you cook in your coconut oil or your taro or what is it, ghee, other
Be
stuff like
careful
that.
with the corn oils too, because a lot of
Mhm.
people say, "Oh, that's corn
The
oil." I was
canola, no, that's not good at all. The canola oil when it just says vegetable oil. I used to use it back in the day. I didn't
Yep.
know. I thought I was doing something good. I'm like, well, I'm not bound to Crisco. I thought, but that was way back in the day. When you know better, you do better.
And forgiveness. You have to forgive.
Absolutely.
That's the key to any good nutrition for yourself.
And
Forgiveness. I have my occasional snicker moments,
mhm.
but if you do it, you're human and you shouldn't deprive, because when you deprive yourself, you tend to want those bad things more.
That's my thing too, is not hoarding information. That's why I'm here today. That's what this channel is. Like I know better because I'm doing better, but I don't want to hoard it. But also too, I don't know it all. So I get
No.
great comments, I get great questions, I get emails with further info to just make me better and we learn together. I
Yes.
stepped away because Donna asked a great question. Thank you. She said, did they even prescribe you a prenatal? And I talk about this a lot. I'm going to show y'all. So this here is my prenatal, has my name on it. So,
Yes.
like I said, I am cautious of everything I put into my body. So, I pulled my name label back, and you may not be able to see it, but I can post a picture later. But in here, you have like red number 40. Oh, wait a minute, this was it. I read it out. You have red number 40, you have BHT. BHT, the thing that they say pregnant women stay away from, it's the preservative that's in deli meat. It's in the prenatal. Also, it has yellow number 6. It also has titanium dioxide, maltodextrin. You know, the titanium dioxide is what people are suing Skittles over right now because they said it's not fit for human consumption. But guess what? It is in my prenatal tablets. And so it is just like this. I ain't took not one because I'm conscious. So if I won't even ingest these, I'll go buy my own, which is from natural organic sources. I'm not going to consume this, and I'm not consuming the other drink. I'm not going to do it. I'm glad you asked that question because I've been trying to. I have a video here on this channel that I made before I was pregnant. It was I'm throwing away all of my vitamins because of these ingredients, and then also too, they still tell us while you're pregnant, oh, if you have a headache, you can pop a Tylenol. I know I'm not the only one to see the commercial on TV that says if you took acetaminophen while you're pregnant and your child ended up with this, you may have you may be entitled to substantial damages.
Yeah, we was just talking about that earlier, where we was talking about how
Exactly.
you got all of these pills, they just throwing them at you because in school they say, well, give them this, but it's like you look at what is all in it, it's like the side effects outweigh what it's supposed to do in the first place. And then half of the stuff they tell you, just like you just said, to stay away from. When you read it, it's like, okay, but you told me to stay away from this. Do you even read what you prescribe? No.
Exactly. Exactly. I want to do a separate video. I was thinking of a title for it. It's gonna be like pregnant in a toxic world, and I want to just take you through my home. I thrown some things away. I've taken pictures of it, but I'll show you some things in my home that were thrown away because of the toxic ingredients. So this is setting me up for great habits and to demonstrate positive and great eating habits for our daughter and those around us, because it's certain products that are toxic. I don't use lotion. We make our own from coconut oil and shea butter and stuff like that. And it's like, you really have to be careful. This is a toxic place. I don't even drink the freaking tap water. Y'all saw the video
No,
I
me neither.
uploaded about I distill every drop of water I drink in this house, even brush my teeth with distilled water.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm so glad that we talked about that. And then the other thing is, well, if you do pop up positive on the diabetes screening, we want you to test your sugar and inject insulin. I'm not going to do that either, because my mother, she made very poor habits in life. And one thing with I know I can't say everybody, but one thing that's common that I notice upon those who have stuff, and I'm even guilty of it. I'll say my anemia, issue, but they say my diabetes, and I'm like, Mom, that's not yours. You need to flip your eating habits and get rid of that. My mom, she loves her diabetes because that's how she get her disability. So she don't want to get rid of her diabetes because
Sure.
that's how she get. It was a meme I saw where it was like, Jesus was trying to heal somebody, and it was like F off Jesus, I'm on disability, don't heal me. you know.
Well, you know what though,
But
Tieesha?
I've
A
seen
big,
that my mom, she's kind of addicted to the insulin. And I'm like, Mom, where is that insulin coming from? It could be pig insulin, but it's destroying your kidneys, it's destroying, your body. Why the hell would I inject myself of something that's gonna harm something else in me? It's not gonna happen.
well, one big thing that I would tell anybody, and this is the greatest piece of advice that I could come up with that
Mhm,
was not given to me, is you can listen at people, but learn to also, we are born with intuition. They call it gut feeling, whatever they want to call it. You have it. Listen at what people tell you, but do your own homework. Do what feels right for you, because everything that people tell you don't it don't work. It doesn't make
mhm,
sense, or it's not a clear definitive answer for it, and you'll try to do it and it won't work for you.
mhm,
And if you're a new mother, you can't really listen at everybody because you will be terrified. I was terrified with my
mhm,
first baby. They told me I was going to be in all this tremendous pain, that the baby was going to rip me open. I mean, I heard it all.
mhm,
I had more anxiety about going into labor than actually having the baby.
mhm,
So you just have to just follow your mind. You know that if you're doing what you feel is best for your baby, then that's what's, because people will tell you anything if you don't know any better. So
and
learn better so
mhm.
you can do better.
That's the one thing I state. Like, it's no secret here. I used to be a police officer, and I'm like, if there's something I'm doing that is neglectful and detrimental to myself or my child or the public, they'll go get a court order. And I've never heard of someone getting a court order for refusing to take a gestational diabetes test. So I'm I'm going to exercise it there. And that brings us to our next point. I'm so happy that you went there, do what is best for you. I'm going to share another screen with you. And this is from the state of Georgia. I reside here in Georgia. And let me switch back to make sure you can see what I see. There we go. And let me go back to that tab so I can read it off to you in real time. Okay, so this is the Georgia Birth Advocacy Coalition. And I'm pretty sure if you haven't, you will become familiar with a birth plan and things like that. And especially within this last year, of your rights to refuse certain medical interventions and things like that. So here at the Georgia Birth Advocacy Coalition, it goes through your rights, and you can actually use some of this language in your birthing plan, because even though I'm planning to have a home birth, should I decide to go to labor and delivery, I will have a soundproof birthing plan with me. And hospitals and medical providers often tell birthing, I'm not in agreement, but hey, this is what they say, the birthing with birthing mothers that they have to do something, or that they have no right to decline a recommended medical procedure. A broken medical system capitalizes on women not knowing or asserting their rights. The proper balance of power is that medical providers make medical recommendations, and birthing mothers, birthing women make the decisions. Anything else violates the rights of birthing women, expecting mothers in Georgia. Here in Georgia, you have the following rights. Being pregnant or in labor does not eliminate the right to decline medical procedures. You can say no to a wide variety of recommended interventions, including a C-section, a episiotomy. If you don't know what an episiotomy is, that's when your doctor at the time of your labor, they slice you from the bottom of your vagina to the near the top of your anus.
Yes.
Um, and you have the right to decline that, and so you also can decline having your labor induced. You can decline certain, or you can decline, don't say certain, you can decline medical tests, which is what I am doing now. You can decline ultrasound. You can also decline fetal monitoring. You can also decline medical procedures, and that also plays in part with a VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after cesarean. And one thing that they'll say, well, this is against hospital policy. Well, it's not against the law. The law overrides policy. And it goes further into that here. It says hospital policy does not trump the right of a pregnant or laboring woman to decide what happens to her own body. A hospital cannot force her to have a medical procedure without their consent. Hospital policy does not replace the law. While you are in labor, you can give birth in any position that you choose. You can move while in labor. You can eat and drink while in labor, and you can also wear the clothing that you want. And that's going to take me to another video while I want to tell you about my birthing decisions, and also reflect on my previous one to tell you about some things, and I'll touch base or touch on this website as well. But right here, the state of Georgia says that I have the right to do so. I reside here, and your policy does not trump it. One other thing that's important too is that should you decide to go and have and give birth in a hospital, you have the right to record the whole dang old thing. They can't tell you to cut off your camera, turn off your phone. You have the right to record and do everything. This state, I urge you to look at the laws for your state, but here, this is a one-party consent recording state. As long as I know that I'm recording a conversation, I can record it and it's legal. So, I want to encourage you to not let different things intimidate you and put you in fear and take away from this joyous experience that is going to happen, but also to your life. Sharon, do you have anything?
Well, I do want to say one thing that's also important. It's important for your partner or whoever is going into the labor with you to also be aware of your wishes and that birthing plan as well, and are strong enough to hold firm to the wishes as if you were the one speaking, in case you cannot speak for yourself at some point.
And you know what? You brought up something that I want to look up really quick. That is so important that you have someone there. When I was in there with my son, I was by myself because his dad was deployed. And
Me too.
so, and plus I lived in Virginia. My family was in Ohio. So I gave birth all by myself. And that was a big mistake. I never wish that on anyone. But yes, you do need someone in there to advocate for you and stand firm and hold them accountable, because once you start slapping lawsuits for them, not abiding by what you want, and that can be a whole fight that'll take years within itself.
And find out too from the hospital if if that person goes in with you, is there a form that I can give consent to this person with me so they can speak on my behalf, as if in the event that I cannot, because
Yes,
you
that
also
is.
want to make sure that you got some kind of paperwork.
Yes,
If they,
that is a medical power of attorney and also a I think it's called a durable power of attorney. I'm looking for actually I just found it and this is the full episode. I am going to cut this and paste it in the comments and I'll put it in my description as well because YouTube will give you a copyright. But I'm going to explain this link to you. I was watching Divorce Court and it happened here in Georgia. Divorce Court is filmed I think it's filmed in Tyler Perry Studios, I believe, but it's filmed in Atlanta. And there was a couple on there where the wife, while she was in labor, she had just delivered, the doctors approached her husband and they kind of pressured him to make the decision to get her tubes tied. And when she came to and realized what happened, she was hurt because she wanted more children. But they had, coerced him to go with their decision to tie her tubes. And that's not what she wanted. But he felt so bad because he's like, well, I was there. I think she had a C-section or something like that. But he's like, well, she's in this state and I got a new baby and they're coming at me. I'm thinking it's life-saving. So I gave permission to tie her tubes. And she was so hurt. And that's why it is so important to not go into there by yourself, go in there as a united front. You stand firm in what you want, but also too, you have an option. Like we're looking into hiring a doula as well, because there's certain things, I want done and I want someone who is familiar, who's not like, okay, I'm going to faint at the sight of blood or I'm nervous, I'm excited. I mean, they're excited for us and our new addition, but they're there for business. They are my eyes and ears. And it doesn't hurt to also, because I'm also going to go and do that with the medical power of attorney and the durable power of attorney. I have a video on this channel about those things. So I'm going to have that done before we go. But it wouldn't hurt to consult with an attorney as well. I'm going to see if they'll, look over my birthing plan and my rights and stuff like that to make sure that I'm protected should I choose to go to a hospital. So I'm so happy that you brought that up. But take a moment and check out that video and see why it's so important. And I'm sure many people here have either heard or read Medical Apartheid, so we already know.
and if you if you at any time feel discomfort or nervous or anxious during your pregnancy, find that something that will calm you. If it's a person, but I would say find your own comfort. Somebody that will understand, but yet that this person brings you peace in the midst of the storm.
And that's one thing too. I interviewed Taliese, the home birth queen, and that really pushed me to where this is what I want to do. I want to be here in the comfort of my own home because, these policies, these rules can change at any time where you only have one person in there with you have to choose. And once that person is exhausted, you can't swap them out for somebody else. So you're stuck. So, I really want to share my story and share this journey to, show us that being pregnant, labor and delivery is not something that is rocket science. Our body knows exactly what to do. And, if things happen to come up, we address it. But this is a natural process. And I want it to be as natural and I want to be in the moment and have complete ownership over it as much as I can. So that's pretty much all that I have. Do you have any final thoughts or final tidbits of wisdom?
I'm not a doctor, so I don't want people to take medical advice from me, but you better than anybody. And if it's something that you educationally do not know, but you are interested in it, I always tell people Google is free. And so is the library, unless you owe for books. Find out from yourself. And please, use your older generation for something that you cannot dispute that they know. Mm-hmm. They've had many children and probably raised grandchildren and great grands. So just find your peace, find your knowledge, and you will have a healthy, happy baby and be comfortable with whatever decision you decide to make.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And like I said, I'm so thankful that you came into my life as that aunt that I always wish for. So I am so happy. That's all I have. We hit everything on my checklist because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll cut the video off. Like, dang, I should have said that. But I got all my thoughts down. And I'll definitely, you have an invite back for future videos for your wisdom and your knowledge, your expertise, because we have our backgrounds of being active duty and stuff like that, so we operate a little different, but it still works. And so at the moments where I feel like, am I insane, you like let me know, like, no, you're not, you're good. So thank you so much for all this today.
Well, you're welcome. Anytime. I have a lot to babble about.
And I love it because I can too. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. Donna, some chick named Star. Oh, I showed you the belly. There you go. I'm wearing her shirt. Make sure you put your contact information in the chat. I have two great shirts from you, and I love them. They make me feel so empowered, and that's why I put this one tonight, because I feel really empowered on this journey, and I want to share that with everyone else. We have the Pick Me podcast. We had our sister Globally Black. Thank you so much. I just really appreciate everybody who joined us live, and those who will watch later, and also those who are in the comments. So thank you, and I will see y'all on the next video. Y'all have a great one.